Imagine stepping outside and finding a tiny renaissance hiding in your backyard. Water sliding over a mirror-black drum, ivy tracing the rim like a laurel crown. A fallen statue glowing with little candle niches. A wall of emerald bottles waking up at dusk, each one a pocket of Tuscan light. Broken terracotta spills into a frozen cascade of succulents. A pocket-sized reflecting pool turns the sky into marble. None of it bought as luxury. All of it rescued, reshaped, and reborn. This is trash turning into treasure, the moment your garden learns to whisper in Italian. Hey, it's Archon. Welcome to Archon Aesthetic Studio. If upcycled, magical garden ideas are your thing, you're in the right place. We drop a fresh episode every week, turning ordinary scraps into designer-level corners that feel timeless. If you enjoy today's Italian-inspired transformations, subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what's the one item you almost threw away this week? One, mirror-black drum fountain with ivy halo. Picture a forgotten drum, its metal worn and dull, now reborn as a pool of black glass. The surface holds the sky itself, a mirror where drifting clouds pause for a moment before moving on. Around its rim, ivy coils like a crown of laurel, softening the edges, turning the rough into something regal. Water trickles over the lip, catching light in 1,000 silver fragments, each drop a fleeting jewel offered to the earth. In the quiet, this fountain does not roar, it whispers, like a secret shared between garden and soul. There is a timelessness here. What was once discard has become a symbol of reflection, of patience, of stillness in motion. Stand close, and you see not just water but your own image mingled with leaves and sky, a reminder that nature and maker are never far apart. In the evenings, when lanterns flicker nearby, the dark pool glows with a hidden fire, as if the night itself has leaned down to drink. This is not merely a fountain. It is a story told in water and ivy, a reminder that beauty often begins in the overlooked. And just beyond its glow, another transformation waits to be discovered. Two, fallen statue ruin with candle niches. Among the shadows of the garden, a broken figure lies, half a statue, half a memory. Its surface is fractured, softened by moss and the gentle curl of ivy, yet the ruin feels alive. Small niches carved into the stone cradle flickering candles, their flames painting warm arcs across the worn face. By day, the ruin whispers of history, an echo of forgotten courtyards and noble villas. By night, it transforms into a stage where light and shadow perform, each candle a star held close to the earth. The brokenness does not weaken it. It deepens its story, reminding us that beauty often lingers in imperfection. Stand near, and you will feel the hush that ancient places carry, the sense that time has folded, allowing the past to sit quietly beside the present. The ruin does not demand attention. It invites reflection, a chance to sit still and let memory weave with imagination. As the last flame trembles in the evening air, the garden shifts, preparing to reveal another secret, another transformation born from what was once discarded. 3. Emerald Bottle Vineyard Wall, Backlit. Along the edge of the garden rises a wall unlike any other. Its bricks are bottles, emerald green, gathered from what was once refuse. Aligned in rows upon a wooden rack, they catch the day's light, turning plain sunshine into liquid gemstones. Each bottle glows as though it carries a vineyard within, a memory of harvests and laughter echoing in the Tuscan hills. When the evening comes, a lamp behind the wall ignites the glass, and suddenly the garden is bathed in a soft green shimmer, like moonlight filtered through leaves. The wall is both barrier and beacon, standing quietly yet offering a glow that draws the eye. There is poetry in its transparency, a reminder that even what was emptied can be filled with beauty again. It is a vineyard without grapes, a cellar open to the sky, a celebration of second chances. Pause here and let your gaze linger. The bottles are not just glass, they are fragments of story, stitched together by light. As the glow softens, another transformation beckons, waiting to unfold deeper in the garden. Four. Terracotta Shard Cascade, Dry Spill or Succulent Flow. Once broken, a pot is often discarded, its story deemed complete. Yet here, in the quiet of the garden, shards are gathered not as waste, but as fragments of a new tale. Tilted and stacked, they form the illusion of a cascade, terracotta flowing like water, spilling succulents and polished pebbles in a frozen stream. Each crack, each jagged edge, becomes a line in a sculpture drawn by time itself. The plants soften the clay's rawness, their greens and silvers tumbling downward as though nature had chosen to weave her own river. Sunlight dances on the shards, casting shadows that mimic ripples. In the evening, a lantern at the base turns the flow into firelight. The cascade speaks of resilience, that what is fractured can still create beauty, that endings can be beginnings in disguise. It is at once motionless and alive, a fountain without water, a story without loss. As your eyes trace the flow to its resting place, the garden beckons onward, hinting at another transformation waiting just around the corner. Five. Mini reflecting pool with infinity edge. In the heart of the garden lies a mirror, not of glass, but of water. A shallow pool, its rim hidden, becomes an infinity edge where surface and sky are indistinguishable. Look once, and you see the lavender bending gracefully above. Look again, and clouds drift across its black surface as though the heavens themselves have come down to rest. The pool is small, humble in size, yet it holds the grandeur of a lake. Every petal leaning close doubles itself. Every flicker of light multiplies into a constellation. There is a stillness that invites pause, a gentle call to breathe slower, to notice the weight of silence. In the evening, when a lantern is placed at its edge, the water turns golden, like a melted sun preserved for nightfall. What was once just a discarded trough or framed basin has transformed into a theater of reflection, reminding us that perspective is everything. From trash to treasure, from emptiness to infinity, the pool whispers that beauty is not about size, but about how deeply it allows us to see. Beyond its mirrored surface, another creation waits to unfold, ready to reveal the next chapter in this garden story. Six, Tile-Mosaic Sunburst Path. Beneath your feet, the ground becomes a canvas. Broken tiles, once dull remnants of kitchens or bathrooms long gone, now converge in a radiant sunburst, each shard a ray of light captured in stone. The path does not simply guide the step. It invites the gaze downward, where fragments of earth tones and terracotta reds spiral into a timeless geometry. Sunlight plays across the glossy edges, and in the early morning dew, the design shimmers as though painted fresh by the day itself. There is something eternal in the pattern, something that whispers of plazas where people once gathered, where music and laughter filled the air. Yet here, in the intimacy of a backyard, the grandeur is scaled to human touch, reachable, relatable, born of hands piecing together what others cast aside. Each shard tells its own story of fracture and renewal, and together they compose a radiant harmony, proof that beauty lies not in perfection but in the art of arrangement. Follow the path as it winds forward, and you'll sense the garden ready to unveil its next wonder, waiting just around the bend. Seven, Whitewashed Pallet Pergola with Bougainvillea. Beneath a canopy of magenta blooms, time seems to pause. What began as discarded pallets, rough and splintered, now stands reborn, whitewashed into a pergola that feels both rustic and regal. Its beams catch the light softly, the pale wood glowing against the vivid cascade of bougainvillea overhead. Each petal that falls is a note in an unseen melody, drifting gently to the ground, reminding us that beauty is often in the fleeting. Sit beneath the structure and the world narrows to a frame of blossoms and filtered sky. Sunlight threads itself through the leaves, dappling the floor with shifting lace. The pergola is not just a shelter. It is a threshold, a place where everyday life slips into something almost sacred. To step under it is to be welcomed by color, by fragrance, by the whisper of vines climbing higher. What was once wood without purpose now cradles moments of gathering, of stillness, of dreams held close. And as the breeze moves through the flowers, carrying their brilliance across the air, the garden hints that another wonder, equally unexpected, is waiting just beyond. Eight, Rebar Obelisk Trellis, matte black. Rising from the soil like a sentinel, the obelisk trellis stands tall, a silhouette of matte black etched against the greenery. Fashioned from rebar, metal once forgotten in corners of construction yards, it now holds the grace of geometry, its angles precise yet softened by the embrace of climbing vines. Ivy, jasmine, or even roses wind upward, each tendril weaving the hard steel into living lace. By day, the structure casts a star-shaped shadow on the earth, marking time as the sun moves above. By night, lanterns at its base send light racing up the bars, turning the obelisk into a tower of quiet fire. It is at once modern and ancient, recalling monuments that point toward the sky, but rooted here in a modest garden. The transformation is more than visual, it is symbolic. Strength and delicacy coexist, iron and leaf writing a shared poem in space. Standing near it, one feels lifted too, as though the garden itself is teaching us to reach higher, to grow beyond what we were. And as your eyes follow the vines spiraling upward, the path curves, ready to lead you toward the next rebirth hidden in this place. Nine, Jar Lantern Colonnade. As daylight fades, the garden begins to breathe in another rhythm. Along the path, rows of glass jars awaken, each one carrying a small flame, each one a beacon of quiet wonder. The jars, once containers of preserves and forgotten goods, now line the walkway like a colonnade of light, guiding every step with a soft golden glow. Their symmetry recalls the grandeur of ancient avenues, yet their warmth is intimate, scaled to the touch of a backyard. Shadows stretch and dance across the gravel, weaving patterns between leaf and flame, while the air carries a hush that belongs only to twilight. This colonnade is not just a passage but an invitation, to linger, to follow, to lose oneself in the play of light. It tells us that elegance can be born from the simplest of vessels, that discarded glass can hold a fire as noble as any lantern of brass. Stand at the entrance, and the line of jars feels endless, like a trail of stars fallen gently to earth. With each step deeper into their glow, the promise of another transformation stirs, waiting to be found beyond the next turn of the path. Wagon Wheel Gate Focal, Patina Gold. At the threshold of the garden stands a wheel, no longer turning, yet still carrying motion in its form. Once part of a wagon's journey, it has been lifted into a new life, as a gate focal, touched with patina gold. Its spokes radiate like the sun, catching light in soft metallic glimmers, while ivy curls gently around its rim, weaving age and renewal together. There is something ceremonial in its presence. To pass through this gate is to step into a story, to move from the ordinary into the realm of the garden. The wheel whispers of travels long past, of roads once traveled, but now it marks the beginning of slower paths, where footsteps linger. By day, the patina glows like history burnished by time. By night, a lantern near its base ignites shadows that spread across the gravel, a quiet spectacle of line and form. It is not merely a decoration, but a guardian of transitions, reminding us that beauty lies not only in what moves forward, but also in what chooses to remain, to hold space, to welcome. Beyond its circle, another secret waits, and the garden begins its next tale. (11) Roman arch from reclaimed timber, Keystone detail. There is a quiet majesty in the curve of an arch built from timber once forgotten. Each beam carries the marks of its former life, scratches, weathering, softened by lime wash until they gleam pale and timeless. At the center sits a keystone, a simple block that seems to hold more than wood. It holds the promise of passage. To step beneath the arch is to cross into another rhythm, where the garden becomes more than plants and soil. It becomes a sanctuary. Ivy climbs along its sides, weaving softness into strength, and the air beneath feels cooler, as though the arch itself carries shade from centuries past. By day, sunlight frames the keystone like a crown. By night, a lantern hung from its center transforms it into a glowing threshold. It is not grand in scale, yet its presence is undeniable. What was once discarded timber now stands as a portal of possibility, echoing the arches of old Rome in humble form. Each walk through it is both arrival and departure, reminding us that even the smallest garden can hold the grandeur of history. Beyond its frame, the path stretches forward, ready to reveal the garden's next secret. "12. Paint can to marble column planters." What once carried paint, heavy and utilitarian, now stands as a column, a quiet nod to marble halls and timeless courtyards. The cans, coated with a skim of cement and brushed with veins of grey, no longer bear the marks of labor but the dignity of stone. Placed in pairs or rows, they rise as miniature pillars, each one crowned with lavender, rosemary, or blossoms that soften their austere grace. From afar, they seem relics of a vanished villa. Up close, they reveal their humble origin, a secret shared only with those who look closely. By day, sunlight glances off their smooth surfaces, casting dignified shadows across the garden floor. By evening, the glow of lanterns lends them a golden warmth, as if they had stood there for centuries. These columns are more than planters. They are a reminder of transformation, of how even the most ordinary vessel can aspire to grandeur. They whisper that beauty need not be bought. It can be made, patient stroke by patient stroke, until the garden itself feels like a gallery of quiet triumphs. And just beyond their stately presence, another wonder rises, waiting to be revealed in this theater of rebirth. "13. Tiered Gentong water terrace." Water has a way of stitching sound into silence. Here, it begins at the highest jar, a clay vessel weathered by years of use, and drifts downward, step by step, into Gentong aligned like a staircase. Each drop is a note, each terrace a pause in the melody, until the whole garden seems to hum with quiet song. The jars, once mere containers, now become sculptors of time, slowing the rush of water into a rhythm that soothes the mind. Their terracotta bodies glow warmly in the sun, moss and ivy softening their edges, as if the earth itself has claimed them as her own. Stand close, and you'll feel the cool spray kiss the air, a whisper against the skin. At dusk, lanterns placed beside the jars turn the cascade into liquid fire, each stream catching sparks of gold. It is not a fountain that demands grandeur, but one that offers intimacy, a terrace of sound and light built from what was once forgotten. The terrace teaches us that beauty lies not only in flow, but in the patience of descent. And just beyond the last jar, another transformation waits, ready to tell its story through stone and leaf. "14. Parterre not with brick and herbs." Geometry meets fragrance in the parterre knot, where humble bricks are arranged into lines of quiet elegance. Within their embrace, herbs rise, rosemary, thyme, lavender, each trimmed into order, each releasing its scent into the air as you brush past. From above, the design reveals itself as a tapestry of green and brick, interlacing like threads in a timeless carpet. The knot is more than pattern. It is a dialogue between structure and life. Bricks, once cast aside from walls, now trace living shapes upon the earth, guiding herbs to grow with discipline yet never losing their wild perfume. In the morning, sunlight glances across the lines, casting crisp shadows that highlight the geometry. By evening, the knot softens, its symmetry glowing under lanterns, the fragrance deepening in the cool air. Walking past, one feels not just the delight of order, but the comfort of being surrounded by simple abundance. This garden piece proves that elegance is not about grand scale, but about care, arrangement, and the transformation of scraps into art. Beyond its patterns, the path bends toward another surprise, waiting to unfold in the rhythm of this upcycled sanctuary. "15. Hidden PVC Rill under Grate." Sometimes the most magical things are those barely seen. Beneath the garden path, a hidden rill carries water quietly, its song muffled under the grate of wood or iron. Through narrow slats, glimmers of silver catch the light, teasing the eye to notice what lies beneath. The water does not roar or spill. It whispers, threading its way like a secret vein through the soil. Herbs lean close along the path, sipping the coolness it brings, their fragrance deepened by the constant presence of moisture. Walking above, you feel a hush underfoot, as though the ground itself is breathing softly. At twilight, lanterns placed nearby reveal the shimmer more clearly, turning the narrow channel into a ribbon of moving light. It is a feature that does not demand, but rewards those who pause and listen, those willing to bend low to catch a glimpse. From PVC pipe once destined for refuse, a hidden stream is born, proof that elegance often hides in subtlety. This rill reminds us that not all beauty shouts. Some of it whispers beneath our very steps. And as you follow the sound down the path, the garden opens again, ready to unveil its next transformation. "16. Broken Mirror Niche, Shimmer Backdrop." Once discarded, shards of mirror lie fractured and sharp, fragments of forgotten reflections. But gathered carefully into a niche, they are reborn, not as waste, but as a shimmer that gives the garden its hidden glow. By day, sunlight strikes their uneven faces, scattering glints across walls and pathways like fleeting jewels. The niche becomes a backdrop alive with movement, a canvas that paints itself differently with every passing cloud. At dusk, when lanterns flicker nearby, the glass captures the flames and multiplies them, turning a single light into dozens of dancing stars. The brokenness is no longer something to conceal. It becomes the very source of beauty, a lesson etched in silver and shadow. Step closer, and the mirrors catch more than light. They catch fragments of you, mingling your reflection with ivy and stone. It is as if the garden is whispering that we, too, are mosaics, patched together, imperfect, yet radiant in our wholeness. In this shimmer, the niche is not simply decoration. It is memory and metaphor, a reminder that even in pieces, we can shine. And as your gaze lingers on the dancing light, the path bends once more, toward another transformation waiting to unfold. 17. Bougainvillea-Crowned bench, Pallet plus pergola cap. Beneath a canopy of magenta, a simple bench becomes a throne of stillness. Crafted from pallets, whitewashed to soften their rough history, it rests beneath a modest pergola cap. Above, Bougainvillea cascades in vibrant waves, each bloom catching sunlight, each petal drifting down like a quiet celebration. Sit here, and the world narrows to the fragrance of flowers and the gentle shade they weave. The wood carries the memory of utility, now reborn as a place of pause, a seat where moments linger longer than time intends. In the afternoon glow, shadows of blossoms spill across the bench, turning wood into canvas. At dusk, lanterns nearby ignite the canopy, transforming the blooms into stars woven into branches. This bench is not merely a place to rest. It is a corner of reflection, a stage where conversations become softer, where solitude finds comfort. In its crown of bougainvillea, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the discarded becomes regal. And just beyond its embrace, the garden stretches on, ready to reveal another secret fashioned from what once was forgotten. (18) Stone offcut carpet patio. Beneath your feet, the earth wears a carpet of stone. Offcuts once considered waste, fragments with jagged edges and mismatched hues, are laid side by side until they resemble the weave of a tapestry. From a distance, the patio unfolds like a rug rolled onto the soil, each piece of stone a thread, each seam a stitch. The effect is both rustic and refined, a surface that tells of patience, of hands that saw possibility where others saw debris. Morning light dances on its rough mosaic, tracing outlines in silver. Evening shadows soften it into muted earth tones, like an aged fresco underfoot. To sit here is to rest upon a story, to walk across a memory reassembled from brokenness. Herbs spill gently from terracotta pots around its edges, scenting the air with rosemary and thyme, as though weaving fragrance into the pattern itself. This patio is more than a floor. It is a threshold where the garden gathers, where meals might be shared, where laughter might find its echo. In every shard lies proof that beauty is not wasted, only waiting. And just beyond this mosaic carpet, the garden unfolds toward another hidden marvel, ready to be revealed. (19) Rusty iron pergola plus curtain lights. Iron ages with dignity, its surface gathering rust like a patina of memory. Here, that weathered strength rises again as a pergola, its frame softened by vines, its edges glowing with a cascade of light. Curtain strands fall from the beams, shimmering like a waterfall made of stars, turning evening into a quiet celebration. By day, the pergola is raw and honest, its rust recalling forgotten factories or wagons left in the rain. By night, it transforms into a sanctuary, glowing softly as if it were holding a constellation in its arms. Beneath this canopy, laughter feels warmer, silence feels deeper, and even a humble meal becomes a banquet framed by light. The marriage of rough metal and delicate illumination speaks of balance, strength softened by grace, age brightened by renewal. From scraps of iron left to decay, beauty emerges, proof that time itself can be an artist. Sit under its glow, and you will feel the pulse of both history and hope. And just beyond the beams, the garden breathes on, ready to reveal the next wonder born from what others might have thrown away. "20. Wine Crate Herb Stairs. Once filled with bottles of deep red harvests, the wine crates now cradle green life of another kind. Stacked into steps, they form a staircase of fragrance, each tier brimming with rosemary, thyme, basil, and lavender. Their wooden sides, stamped with faded lettering, whisper stories of vineyards and cellars, of nights of celebration now woven into the quiet rhythm of growth. Walk past, and the air grows heavy with scent, herbs brushing your fingertips as you climb each level. The crates, weathered and rough, seem softened by the tender leaves they carry, their history blending seamlessly with the present. At sunset, lanterns resting on the steps cast golden light across the wood, the herbs glowing as though kissed by fire. This stairway is not just structure, it is journey. Each step is a chapter, past wine, present herbs, future meals seasoned with memory. From refuse to ritual, the crates prove that nothing truly ends. It only changes shape, offering new meaning. And just beyond these fragrant tiers, the garden beckons again, ready to reveal another story shaped by hand and imagination. "21. Topiary Illusion on Branch Wire Frame. In the heart of the garden, imagination shapes itself into form. With nothing more than wire, branches, and patient hands, ivy and vines are guided into spheres and cones, illusions of ancient topiaries reborn in humble scale. The frames, simple and skeletal at first, slowly vanish under green embrace until they seem carved from life itself. By day, their symmetry lends order, a quiet rhythm among the wildness of leaves. By night, lanterns at their base cast shadows that stretch across the ground, turning each topiary into a sculpture of light and foliage. These shapes are not monuments of stone, but living echoes of them, proof that grandeur can be grown rather than built. The touch of your hand on a branch, the steady trimming of ivy, becomes part of the story, weaving care into every curve. What once was scrap wire or fallen branch now becomes the skeleton of beauty, a framework where time and nature collaborate. And as the leaves thicken, the illusion deepens, whispering of villas and courtyards long past. Beyond their graceful silhouettes, the garden stirs, ready to unveil the next transformation born of patience and vision. "22. Clay Pipe Tuscan Columns, Planter Stacks. Terracotta, once used to carry water and shape walls, finds new life rising from the garden floor as Tuscan columns. Simple clay pipes, weathered and worn, are stacked one upon another, their rough edges softened by the green cascade of thyme, rosemary, and oregano spilling outward. From a distance, they appear as miniature pillars of antiquity, echoes of villas where vines once climbed marble and sunlight traced shadow across stone. Up close, they speak of humility, scraps transformed, structure born from simplicity. Each pipe holds not emptiness but abundance, its hollow space reborn as a cradle for roots. Morning light warms their earthy hue, and by nightfall, lanterns nearby catch their curves in soft firelight. These columns are not monuments to grandeur, but to possibility, proof that even fragments of clay can stand as symbols of grace. Their rhythm across the garden creates order, their fragrance threads the air, and their presence bridges past and present. To stand beside them is to feel both grounded and uplifted, as though the garden itself has borrowed the dignity of Tuscan hillsides. And just beyond their embrace, another transformation waits, ready to reveal its quiet wonder. "23. Bottle in concrete border jewels." Along the garden's edge, light itself is set into stone. Discarded bottles, green, amber, cobalt, once cluttering shelves or bins, now lie half-buried in concrete, their bottoms turned skyward. By day, the sun pours through them, scattering fragments of color across gravel and leaves, so that the border glimmers like a necklace laid upon the earth. Each bottle is a jewel not mined but reclaimed, proof that beauty is not found only in rarity but also in reinvention. The concrete, rough and strong, frames their brilliance, much like old stone walls once framed mosaics in forgotten villas. At dusk, as lanterns flicker nearby, the glass captures the glow and amplifies it, casting tiny halos into the night air. Children stoop low to watch the colors dance. Adults linger, surprised by the poetry hidden in what was once mere waste. It is a border, yes, but also a gallery of light, a reminder that even the humblest materials can sing when placed in harmony with the sun. Walk past it, and you feel the garden alive with spark, a pathway edged not in stone but in memory, imagination, and radiance. And just ahead, another wonder waits to transform the overlooked into the unforgettable. "24. Mosaic plate Sunburst tabletop." On this table, sunlight becomes art. Broken plates, once the remnants of meals, celebrations, or quiet kitchens, are gathered and arranged into a radiant sunburst, their fragments glowing with new harmony. Each shard, chipped and irregular, contributes to the greater whole. Blues and whites echoing the sky, terracotta recalling earth, golden glints like rays of dawn. The table does not hide its scars. It transforms them into brilliance, a surface that invites hands to trace its ridges, eyes to follow its geometry. Sitting here, a cup of tea becomes more than ritual. It becomes communion with memory, each piece of ceramic a whisper of a past life. In the morning, the shards catch light like stained glass, glowing softly against the greenery. By evening, candles placed upon the surface scatter warmth across the mosaic, turning dinner into theater. This is no ordinary tabletop, but a dialogue between ruin and renewal, where even brokenness shines brighter when joined with care. To gather around it is to celebrate not perfection but possibility, proof that beauty can be remade. And just beyond its sunlit glow, the garden leans forward, ready to unveil yet another wonder stitched together from fragments of the forgotten. "25. Antique chair as plant throne." Once a seat for weary travelers, now a throne for the living green. The antique chair, with its faded paint and iron curves, is no longer meant for resting bodies but for celebrating growth. In its seat blooms a cushion of flowers, spilling over the edges as though nature itself had taken the place of fabric. The backrest rises like a crown, framing the plants in quiet dignity, while ivy wins its way along the legs, softening their age. This transformation feels almost theatrical, an object built for utility reborn as a stage for beauty. By day, sunlight catches on the chipped wood, igniting colors in the blossoms that rise in its stead. By night, lanterns nearby lend it an aura, the chair glowing like a relic of forgotten royalty. It is whimsical, yet solemn, an object that teaches us that even what seems obsolete can still reign in the right setting. To encounter it is to stumble upon a story left in the garden, a reminder that thrones are not only for kings, but also for roses and lavender. And as you pass this seat of blooms, the garden offers its final whispers of transformation, inviting you onward to discover what else might yet be crowned with wonder. (26) Reflective glass shard pond base. Beneath the surface of the pond, fragments of glass lie like jewels, their edges softened by water, their colors ignited by light. Once broken and unwanted, the shards now shimmer together, weaving a tapestry of reflection that turns every ripple into art. By day, the pond glows as sunlight dances upon the fragments, scattering emerald, cobalt, and amber into shifting constellations. By night, lanterns at its edge awaken hidden depths, transforming the water into a mirror of fire and shadow. The pond is no longer just water contained. It is light in motion, memory refracted, beauty stitched from ruin. Kneel beside it, and you'll find the garden doubled. Flowers above mirrored in fragments below, as though earth and sky conspired to meet in its circle. The sound of water, the gleam of glass, the hush of leaves, they join into one quiet harmony. This feature is not about grandeur, but about intimacy, inviting the soul to linger longer at the edge. It whispers that even shattered things can hold the light, that brokenness can be recast into brilliance. And as you rise, the pond fades back into stillness, while the path beyond hints at the garden's next revelation, waiting to shine. (27) Brick stair cascade with moss edging. Each step tells a story, its bricks weathered by time, its edges softened by moss. The stair cascade rises gently, not in grandeur but in grace, as though it had been here for centuries, carved by patient hands. The moss glows in the crevices, a green velvet that cushions the roughness of clay, lending the structure both strength and softness. As you ascend, the scent of damp earth and herbs drifts upward, mingling with the fragrance of blooms nearby. Sunlight brushes the bricks in the afternoon, warming their russet tones, while shadows lengthen like slow-moving water across the steps. By evening, lanterns placed along the stair edges ignite the moss with quiet fire, turning each tread into a glowing path. The cascade does more than connect levels. It connects time itself, bridging past labor with present beauty. What once might have been discarded bricks now carry footsteps towards something more. A terrace of memory, a stage for gatherings, a passage into wonder. To walk these stairs is to feel history underfoot, softened by nature's hand. And just beyond the rise, the garden whispers of another transformation, waiting to be revealed at the next level of ascent. "28. Gilded rust can pedestals with planters." Rust does not hide, it deepens, softening sharp metal into hues of earth and fire. Here, tall cans once destined for discard stand as pedestals, their weathered surfaces kissed with gold. The gilding does not erase their past. It honors it, highlighting the ridges, dents, and scars that speak of years of use. Atop each pedestal, planters burst with blooms, their colors amplified by the warm shimmer beneath. From afar, the effect is regal yet rustic, columns of gold and rust lifting the garden into quiet splendor. By day, the sunlight glances across them, making each can glow like a relic unearthed from an ancient villa. By night, lantern light dances on the gilded streaks, turning the pedestals into guardians of soft fire. They stand as proof that beauty is not perfection polished, but imperfection embraced and illuminated. What was once overlooked waste becomes centerpiece, reminding us that transformation often requires only vision and touch. Pause beside them, and you may feel as though you are in a courtyard where history meets imagination. And beyond their glow, the garden readies its next rebirth, eager to show how even the humblest scrap can rise into art. "29. Shattered pot ruins with vines." The pot has broken, yet it has not ended. Its fragments lie scattered, arranged like the remnants of an ancient ruin, where time has carved beauty into loss. Terracotta shards lean against one another, forming arch-like shapes, niches, and walls no larger than a hand, yet carrying the grandeur of fallen temples. Vines curl through the cracks, their green fingers binding the pieces together, reclaiming what was fractured. Moss gathers in the crevices, softening the clay's sharp edges, whispering that decay can be gentle. By day, sunlight glows across the orange-red shards, highlighting every fracture like a vein of history. By evening, the ruins seem older still, as lantern light flickers across the broken surfaces, making them look like relics rediscovered. This creation is less about function than feeling. A small theater of memory, a reminder that imperfection carries its own magnificence. What was once a vessel is now a vision, transformed by breakage into something timeless. In the language of ruins, it tells us that beauty often comes after the fall, when vines and time conspire to write their own story. And just beyond these humble terracotta ruins, the garden readies its final revelation, waiting to unfold with quiet wonder. "30. Glass-embedded stepping stones." Beneath each step, the ground glimmers with hidden fire. Shards of glass, once destined for the bin, now rest within concrete circles, their edges softened by time and touch. Set into stepping stones, they shine like jewels scattered across the path, catching the sun with every stride. Emerald, cobalt, amber, colors dance beneath your feet, turning an ordinary walk into a slow unfolding of wonder. In the morning, dew settles over the glass, magnifying its brilliance, By evening, lantern light turns them into glowing embers guiding you forward. Each stone is more than a surface. It is a story preserved, a fragment of what was broken now made whole again in the earth's embrace. To tread upon them is to walk across memory, to be reminded that even discarded pieces can illuminate the way. The path becomes more than connection. It becomes experience, a gallery of light stitched into the soil. With each step, the garden closes its tale, reminding us that every transformation is a journey, one that begins in ruin and ends in radiance. And so the garden whispers its final truth. Nothing is ever truly lost. It only waits for the moment to shine anew. If one idea today sparked a corner in your mind, that's your garden asking to grow. Save this video, share it with a friend who loves DIY magic, and drop your favorite transformation in the comments. For more upcycled elegance and weekly inspiration, subscribe to Archon Aesthetic Studio and tap the bell. Next week, we're bending light and water for small spaces. See you there, and happy making.